Hello there, I'm glad you're joining us on AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajiman Otredako, and joining me today in the studio is the Senior Coordinator for Higher Education Policy for BREAL. I know the name sounds familiar, BREAL. We'll get to know more about BREAL, and she's Marina Larrea from Argentina. I'll let you know who she is later on. I'll be talking more about BREAL, their aims and scope and goals, and also collaborations, a whole lot more about Obro in scope. So stay with us, we'll be right back for a short break. Stay with us, right back. Welcome back to AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajiman Ochidako. Before we went to the break, I told you that we have in the house the Senior Coordinator for Higher Education Policy for BREAL, and the person of Marina Larrea from Argentina. All scopes on you, Marina. Welcome to AAU Talks.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank you.
Great. Marina, you're welcome. And is this your first time in Africa?
This is not my first time in Africa, but this is my first time in Ghana. And it's my first time at the Association of African Universities, which is a longtime partner for BREAL. So I am really delighted to be with all of you here today, knowing your premises, your headquarters.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. We're glad to have you also in our studios here at AAU. And the bigger picture we see today is BREAL leading a great cause for higher education dialogues and policy across the African continent. And people are wondering, where did BREAL come from and where the big interest in African higher education quality, growth, and development? Tell us more about the BREAL dream.
BREAL is an association that is turning 20 years old this year. It started off as an association of universities between Europe and Latin America in the higher education sector. And slowly turned out to have operations and members all over the world, and having its core operations, its center of operations in Africa. Today, we are an association of many universities and many associations of universities, mainly in Europe, Latin America, Africa, and Asia. But we also have operations in the Western Balkans, in Central Asia, in India specifically, in many countries around the world, always in the higher education sector, promoting interregional dialogue and promoting higher education institutions and systems as catalysts and as agents of development and of integration, regional and continental.
It must be a big inspiration that you must have to drive this goal from Argentina. Tell us how it is, like the whole Argentinian lifestyle to BREAL Global. How does it blend?
Well, I was for 20 years the person in charge of higher education internationalization at the Ministry of Education of Argentina, and that's how I got to meet the BREAL team, and that's how I got involved with them. And really, what BREAL does is something unique, is something innovative. It's like having a mini UN for the higher education sector, but with a very innovative and with a very, I would say, also provocative message, with a different message, where higher education institutions are put at the center, where higher education institutions are not only seen as centers for teaching, learning, and researching, but also as centers that engage with their communities, engage with their governments, engage with civil society, with industry, and have a message to pass. We believe that these are the institutions that are forming and graduating the citizens of not tomorrow or the future, of today. And so that's a great responsibility, and with great responsibility comes also a lot of power, and we're trying to empower these institutions. That's a message that BREAL passes together with AAU, with the Secretary General of this wonderful association, particularly in Africa.
Well, we'll come to the amazing relationship BREAL has with the AAU and the SG, but let us go into the BREAL framework. I know that you operate with ENCA, and that was a big organization. Tell us about the whole connectivity between BREAL and ENCA.
Well, ENCA is one of the partners. Just let me take a step back and tell you about the whole picture. I mean, we have partners all over the world, also in Asia, in Latin America, in Northern America, in Europe, in Africa. And we work with them to make synergies because BREAL is a very small organization. We are only 16 people scattered all around the world in like 10 countries. But we are a small organization. So we depend on partners. We depend on our friends, institutional partners all around the world to carry out our mission, our vision, and our projects and initiatives. So ENCA is one of them in the framework of the quality assurance sector, but we mainly lay on our association and partnerships with associations of universities. Associations that are diverse and inclusive, of course, that allow for membership of all the universities that would like to be a part in their own contexts, because those are really the institutions that have the right legitimacy to represent higher education systems. We, of course, work together with governments also, and we work together with higher education institutions individually, but we have found that associations like KAU are the real power and the real force of our operations worldwide.
So we'll try and then transition into the AAU African context, but I want to build, and for the good of our viewers out there, to understand the premise and the value BREAL holds in the course of dialogues and interregional cooperations. What are some of the achievements or some of the operations that BREAL has made within the European context that is, I mean, so much valuable that can't be replicated here in the African context?
Well, we are working right now together with AAU also in the HAQUA initiative, which is a major initiative funded by the European Commission, which tends to, I would say, support the African priorities and strategies that are very well written and very well expressed in the CESA and in the Pan-African Quality Assurance Framework, bringing some of the lessons that the European harmonization has to for the African higher education system as a whole at the continental level. And overall, together with ENCA, together with DAD, and together with AAU, which is the only African partner in that consortium, carries out this major initiative, which is already transiting its third phase. We're talking about 9 years of funding, so that shows that really the African partners and the consortium that carries out the HAQUA initiative is a very trustful and a very reliable set of institutions, and that makes us very proud. In terms of achievements, I would say that we are building a corps of a community of quality assurance practitioners all around the continent that get their trainings out of HAQUA. We are also helping the African continent to come up with this major dream of having its own Pan-African Quality Assurance Agency, and that's where ENCA comes very strongly to support that strategy. We are also working towards having a data environment and a data culture, data collection and data reporting culture for higher education that will inform policy, public policy. And we are also working on the realm of what we are strong on as BREAL, which is the policy dialogue and the regional and continental integration, bringing together higher education with other sectors, such as, for instance, the free trade area. That is to say, the economic integration of the continent and how both sectors can leverage and can take profit of each other's achievements. So it's a huge initiative, as you can see.
It is. And I think HAQUA is what you have heard from home, and if you're in the universities, you may have heard about HAQUA, which is the Harmonization of African Quality Assurance and Accreditation. How was this initiative born? And what was the role of BREAL and other partners who are involved in this?
Well, as I said before, this relies on African strategies. So what the European Commission does through HAGWA, through the Global Gateway and the Youth Mobility Program for Africa, is to support African strategies.
Okay.
But what was born, the HAGWA initiative, as a quality assurance program or as a quality assurance initiative to take profit and to promote the quality of higher education studies all around Africa is now much more than that. And we're talking about, as I said, political integration and policy dialogue, and African institutions and African higher education systems also dialoguing and talking to other higher education systems all around the globe to share common challenges and look for joint and common and shared solutions also to those challenges. In the South, we don't say global South. Yeah. We tend to think that the concept global South masks and hides that there are so many differences between our countries, like Argentina and Ghana. We are so different, so we shouldn't be considered as one black box, the global South. So we talk about different Souths, and that is why we support this interregional dialogue between Latin America and between Africa as the major scope of the HAGWA initiative, which of course tends to harmonize Africa, but having into account what's going on in other regions of the world.
Great. So if you really join the discussion, I'm having with me Marina Larrea, Senior Coordinator for Higher Education Policy at BREAL, and we're talking more about HACA and some of the continental, interregional corporations in higher education harmonization, a whole lot more. Stay with us right back as we talk more about quality standards, internal, external, and a whole lot more. Right back.
Are you a researcher or an innovator making a difference in Africa and Europe? The SIAP project invites you to share your success story and join a movement dedicated to sharing best practices, bridging knowledge gaps, inspiring others, fostering collaboration. Share your story now and be recognized, celebrated, connected with global network of researchers and innovators. For more information and to submit your story,
Hello Africa is a live breakfast show that aims to give you, our viewers, an informative, entertaining, and energizing start to your day. This isn't just another news show. It takes the form of vibrant magazine packed with news reviews, lifestyle features, engaging interviews, and interactive segments that put you at the center of the action.
All you have to do is grab your coffee, get comfortable, and join us for the Hello Africa morning show.
We are here to kickstart your day with the news and stories that matter to you, alongside all the fun and inspiration we crave.
Every morning, join us for
the latest headlines in African higher education, science, and
quick and informative newspaper and online news review.
Lifestyle tips on fitness, nutrition, fashion, and beauty.
Inspiring interviews with influential figures and everyday heroes.
Performances and interactive contests, and so much more.
In Ethiopia, Salam Africa.
In North Africa, Alan Afrikia.
In Swahili, Jambo Africa.
Tune in every Monday from 8 a.m. to 10 o'clock GMT. Join us to make it a fantastic day together.
Hello Africa, your daily connection to the continent.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome back to AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajiman Otredako, and if you just joined us, I'm having with me today Marina Larrea from Argentina, who's a senior coordinator for higher education policy at BREAL. And we're just discussing the whole course of BREAL's activities within the African continent and through HACA. And one of the modules within the HACA is that there is an aspect for internal quality assurance, external quality assurance, and a whole lot more. So take us through what the modules are and the effect we want to see at the end of the day.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your interest. So one of the main work areas of the HACWA initiative is, of course, quality assurance as a dimension of one of the higher education policy, which is quality. So what HACWA does under this quality assurance work area is promote internal quality assurance in the universities, external quality assurance for agencies, for national agencies, and the establishment of a Pan-African quality assurance accreditation agency. So those would be the three, I would say, the three elements. But if we concentrate on IQA and EQA, so internal and external quality assurance, what HACWA is trying to do is to promote the African standards and guidelines of quality assurance, the ASGQA, which are a huge achievement of HACWA in the last year, of HACWA 2 in the last years, and its user's guide. So that all of Africa has a common language, which does not mean uniformization. This doesn't mean homogenization. It just means that there is a common language in which you can translate your study programs and in which you can translate the quality of your own study programs to foster recognition of those studies, recognition of qualifications, and mobility, but not just academic mobility. We're talking also about the free circulation of graduates, of professionals. So that means that Africa could, in the future, potentially become a single unified market. And higher education has a lot to say. So as you can see, what starts as training modules to look into deeply on ASGQA and a very technical language and how to use the ASGQA inside the university and inside national quality assurance agencies, actually has a potential of transforming Africa and helping its economic and trading integration also.
You know, it's great interest that we're looking at the ASGQ. GQA. The point is, what actually went into the formation of these guidelines because of the diverse context we have within the African continent? Were there any deliberate attempt to try and bring some diversity in forming it up so it could be for the African people, by the people, so it will meet their standards? How did you go about that?
Absolutely. Well, actually, the ASGQA were written after consultation, an extensive consultation, which focused, and this is something that I would like to highlight, in the regional, in the different sub-regions of Africa. And this is something that HACWA is very respectful of. The differences and the diversity of the different regions. I mean, it would be impossible to work with 54-55 countries. So that's why we work with 4-5 regions, Western, Central, Eastern, Northern, and Southern. So this set of standards, because that's what the ASGQA, it's a set of 14 standards. If you look at them, they are very basic, very general, but at the same time very thorough, and they cover all of the dimensions of higher education that have to be assessed and evaluated to come up with a result of what is the quality of a study program, what is the quality of an agency in itself. So it allows for differences. It allows for national contexts and institutional contexts to be taken into account. So yes, of course, it's a very ambitious instrument because it covers the whole of the continent, and we need to promote it more because we are very aware that many people don't know the ASGQA. Still, many people that work at the internal quality assurance sectors, and it would be great if this could be a more useful tool for it's there. I mean, it has been created by Africans for Africans, so it would be great to use it more.
Great. And one other concern, Marina, is the visibility of these standards. You know, our world is constantly evolving to top speed, and you ask yourself, some standards may not be able to match up to the volatility of how things work. Are there any mechanisms in place to keep things evolving as quality demands, that we keep improving, developing in all these standards? What are the mechanisms?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, consultations, regular, periodic consultations with the regions, in which we talk about the potential establishment of the Pan-African Quality Assurance Agency, and that is what is leading the conversation now. But we have foreseen in the future, not very long from now, maybe in 1 year or two, the revision of the ASGQA and the publication of the new standards, if there are any modifications, which, as you just have said, I am sure there will be, because the world, it's a crazy place right now, so we will have to look at them very closely. Well, Africans and African together. Higher education institutions, that is right.
You know, yesterday we met at the QS Africa Forum. You were there moderating a session on interregional cooperation and a whole lot more. Tell us your takeaways from the amazing speakers you had. Spoke with Dr. Patrick Uwa, also Professor Aman, and the speaker from Brazil. What were your takeaways, and what is your takeaway from this event to empower the whole goal of harmonization and also dialogue and cooperation interregionally?
Thank you for mentioning it. I think it was a great panel, a great session, because we showcased a continental association of universities such as the AAU, a national association of universities such as FAUBAI in Brazil, and an individual higher education institution from Ghana, Ashesi University, whose president is amazing. Sure. We have 3 amazing panelists talking about the potential of interregional cooperation and dialogue and what they have really on the table to collaborate. And well, takeaways were of many kinds. We did a good resume of the panel at the end, but I would say that funding is still a huge concern for universities. Articulation at the national level and at the intra-continent level before jumping to interregional cooperation or international cooperation. There is a lot of challenges. There are a lot of challenges yet to address locally before going global. And yes, and something that Dr. Patrick said, the room there is yet for interinstitutional collaboration, the collaboration between universities itself, before going to the intermediate level of associations of universities and the governmental level, which is the top level of all. So that is a message that I took to keep working in overall and to keep promoting our operations worldwide with our members, with our institutions, and to create more platforms to bring them together.
When you get a chance to visit African universities, which I know you've been doing some time now, what is the key message you present to them? And what is the goal you actually are looking out for after your visits and messages you share with them? Share with us.
Well, I would say that the message is twofold. Of course, we visit universities and we talk to our partners and we visit them to explore technical aspects of higher education. So how to run the internal cellule of quality assurance, how to train the people that are running the quality assurance office, how to explore curriculum reform, credits assigned to every study program. So that's something that we work on, of course. But the main message that we pass is a message that actually the Secretary General of the AAU has been promoting, which is the higher education institutions, especially in Africa, because of the demographic context of Africa, is a key institution to help develop and foster the development agenda, the SDG agenda, the sustainability agenda, and the regional and continental integration for Africa. This is especially true for this continent, but it is a message that we pass around with all of our members. The empowered university and the engaged university for development, for sustainability, and for integration. So this is a university that is that has its doors open, which is not really or necessarily the ideal for all universities around the world, but this is a message we pass. And also something that we discussed yesterday in the forum, let's not confuse the collective youth with the collective students. There are many youth that are outside the university. And so the university cannot be easy and calm thinking we are working for the youth when we are only working for a subset of those young people which are inside the university. So that's why the universities have to open their doors and not only go encounter youth outside the university, but also seduce them to come to the university, to get qualifications, to get micro-credentials, youth that maybe think that university is not for them. So that's a huge challenge, to be engaged, to be empowered as a development agent, and not just a teaching, learning, or researching institution. That is the main message for African universities that we have.
Amazing. And, the cause of universities opening their doors to the public and trying to get everybody indoors to come train. There is this issue about, you would say funding, who's funding these people for this formalized education to their skill. How is BREAL supporting universities in that regard? Is there any support mechanism? Is there any suggestion you make to help them build that kind of strength to execute these kinds of goals?
Okay, so all the programs and projects that we are running in the present in Africa have that goal in mind. I could mention, for instance, the project Engage SDGs in Southern Africa, or Impact Higher Education in Eastern Africa, or Joint QA and QA Doc in Western Francophone Africa. So all the projects that and HAQUA even, all the projects and initiatives that we run with European funding, with the European Commission's funding. These are Erasmus capacity building for higher education projects, are have in mind or have as an aim, as an objective, that message that I just passed, but with different elements and being totally aligned with different contexts of countries and of individual universities. But that's what we do, of course. And then, of course, there is the political message, right? The political advocacy. Yesterday, even in the panel where we were, the Brazilian colleague told the Brazilian experience, which is a Latin American experience, where the Latin American countries, which are resource-constrained countries, I mean, in that sense, we're not different from Africa, from the African countries, ensure that the higher education is tuition-free for everybody that wants to go.
Massive scholarships.
And massive scholarships on top of that. So you don't pay to go to university, but the state pays a scholarship so that you can cover for transportation, meals, books, materials. Well, that is, of course, a political move, but it is something that our partners in Latin America mention a lot, and that would like to share. This was shared also in Corevip last year in Namibia. So that is what the interregional dialogue is about, to show ourselves and to share good practices that are successful and that are possible and feasible in resource-constrained settings.
And another challenge is training the trainer. So today, STEM education is taking stage in African continent. Everybody wants to catch up to the fourth industrial revolution. It was really passed by, want to all be on the table and not be on the menu, Prof. Ahmad said. So everybody wants to be on the top. And how is BREAL leading that discussion on how we can also empower teachers, like the tutors in the African continent, to also match up to the international global quality, to also have command over STEM education?
Well, we are combining two of the main things we do, the interregional cooperation and dialogue together with the capacity building. And we are offering free online courses, which are top of the art courses on many issues such as food security and sustainable agriculture, or the engaged model of universities to engage with its community, and many other modules to come. This is something relatively new. Reach out to tutors, instructors, researchers, and put them together to work and talk to their partners all over the world to come up with different solutions. Sometimes, as we also said in the panel yesterday, it's not about having or not having funding. It's about also thinking creatively and innovatively of how we can do things in our own context and with our own materials and resources.
So interestingly, BREAL still leads the discussion, still is looking for more inter-regional cooperation, also dialogues on higher education. So if you out there and you want to get in contact with BREAL, understand what is going on, also get used to this course, and also study to build yourself, you can put the website out there for someone to just join, if you don't mind.
Sure. We are at obrel.org, and we are also on Twitter, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so just log in there, expose yourself to all the opportunities on food security and a whole lot, and also build yourself for your field and also for the African continent. I think it's been a great time with you, Marina.
Thank you so much.
Great discussion, and it's amazing. Appreciating the whole global BREAL effect in Africa's higher education trajectory. Until I come your way next time, it's AU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajiman Ochudako. Be safe. Bye.